Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. It's me. It's again your boy Alex Whiteley. Welcome to the show. And joining me today are Sharon and Chloe from Landfill Angels. I've got to explain that the High Sheriff, when the High Sheriff puts a show together, you don't say no. You don't say no. So I'm pleased to bring this show to you today. So thank you, Dean Harris, for putting this together and introducing us, because that's what she does best. So thank you guys for joining the show.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah. How did you meet Dean Harris then? What was going on there?
It was via the mayor of Whitchurch, who, when we first came to Whitchurch, she came in as a customer to see us, to have a look at the shop. And she announced to us that she was the mayor because we were completely unaware. So we formed quite a nice friendship with her. And she officially, even though we were in COVID times, as we still are, she agreed to do some publicity for us when we had a videographer and photography session done in the shop for promotion purposes.
I can't wait to get her back on the show, because Dean's a great woman. She's I think she's a great advocate for young women out there that want to go out there and do something good, you know. I think she's awesome. So thank you, Dean Harris, for your inspirations across the county. So let's talk about Landfill Angels, because I've been looking at your website. I've got it open right here. It's very, very good. It's very nice.
That was Chloe's work.
Yeah? Yeah? So
yeah, I did the website.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot about intergenerational work and how different generations can work together. So it's easy if you're mother and daughter, of course, but when you're doing something like this, it's good to have a younger perspective of things, especially when it comes to websites and looking cool and hip today.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I take a back seat.
But that's nice that you do that. It's not, because a lot of people that are business owners are like, no, I'm the boss. This is how I'll do things. Sit down. But you're like, no, actually, let's let my daughter have like a bit of a creative flow. And look what happens when you do that. You got a brilliant looking website as a result.
Thank you.
That's nice. It's nice. Where did this all begin then? Landfill Angels.
It began when we moved house, and the house that we moved into at the time was part Tudor, and it had an extension that was like more modern industrial looking. So the furniture that we had at that point from our old house didn't quite go together in the old part. So at the time I was working in finance and Chloe was studying for her GCSEs, and we went out and thought, right, we've got to make something work. Let's just go to the charity shops and we'll start to buy in some furniture that we can transform and, make it work, make everything blend together. Now, bearing in mind, this had come from two people who are probably maths and science brain-led, so we've no creativity in us whatsoever, or we didn't think we had. And we started with small pieces, and we just had an outbuilding at home and we were starting to do stuff up. Chloe was studying exams, so on a break she would come. And it was like, I found it, me personally, to be like an outlet. And I thought, wow, I can actually do something that's creative. But even more to the point is, we've ticked the box for giving back to charity and supporting local charities, but we're also creating things from things that who knows what would have happened to them, and who knows what the story tells from the previous life of where they've been for all these years. You can't buy that sort of quality anymore. So that's how we hit upon the idea of, I'm more in love with painting furniture than I am with finance. So shall we do it? And it was a complete no-brainer for us. The happiness part of the creativity that I didn't even think I had personally, and Chloe's input too, was like, this is great. And then people started to ask us to, oh, can you paint this for us? Could you find this for us? We've got this. Can you paint this? And that's how really it was like, oh, this is actually a business. And if we can help, by saving items of furniture from landfill, then it ticks every box for us.
I can resonate with that in some respects. I mean, I am not, you're not going to catch me sanding down chest of drawers and painting things. I'm not very good with stuff like that. But when someone was talking to me about the biscuit, about what we do and, sort of the appeal that we have around town, I don't know, I guess it's not something I ever thought was like, oh yeah, we're going to do a podcast and take over the town. It was never going to be that. But somebody was like, no, what you're doing is actually valuable, and you can do something with this. I mean, we'll talk about it later on, but obviously when I was CIC, but I never saw this as a business. It's kind of something hard to get your head around, right? That you're doing this because you enjoy.
Yeah, I agree.
And then people are like,
it's not like going to, the bit I like mostly is it isn't like going to work and every day is different.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that, and I get to work with Chloe every day. And it's just fab. Chloe went off, she got glowing results in her GCSEs. She went off to go to sixth form in the September. In the February, she came home and she went, it's not for me, this. So, and Chloe had ideas of her own also for her own businesses. Now, when you're 17, I think when she came home to me and my husband and said, how do you feel about it? Me not wanting to study anymore. And I said, well, you know what, Chloe, life is too short. And even me at my age, I can go back and study if I want to. You can do these things later on. You don't have to do them like society makes you think that you do, or tries to make you conform to. You finish school, you go to sixth form, then you go on to university. This day and age, it doesn't have to be like that. And if you've got that entrepreneurialism in you, we have to support it and we have to enhance that. Because qualifications, as we know from looking at lots of successful business people, they aren't the be all and end all.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, look at Boy on Slap. Boy on Slap, 16-year-old boy was like, I've got an invention that can clear up all the waters of all the plastics. Now look what he's doing around the world. 16 when he put that together. So we're doing it for the kids, right?
Fantastic. Doing it for the kids and supporting. And at the end of the day, ultimately what needs to happen is if you're not happy, the happiness part of it overcomes everything to do with money, possessions, cars, whatever it may be. Because if you're not happy doing it, there's no point in doing it, is there?
No. And what's it like on the? Me working with my mom, I don't know. I can't imagine it. I've never been put in that situation. What's it like for you, Chloe? Can it be frustrating sometimes?
I think it's great because me and my mum are like best friends anyway. So it's just like working with your best friend every day. Obviously, sometimes it gets hard to balance the work and the home life, but I think we do it pretty well.
I think we do it pretty well.
Yeah.
Your mum will probably understand this a bit more, but she doesn't have any Kevin moments then. Oh, I'm not your slave. No. Remember that? No.
No, I'm really fortunate on that front. With both children, they've not been that way at all.
That's nice. Now let's get back to the furniture side of things, because I think it's really important because I've been reading your ethos and a lot of what you guys do, sort of keeping things out of landfills and starting, giving furniture a new life, something that's probably been around for 75, 50, 100 years. I don't know whether it's been sat up in an attic. I haven't seen daylight in 20, 35 years or something. You guys give that furniture a new lease of life and you take it out of danger's way. So there's something beautiful about that though, right? There's something beautiful about taking this forgotten piece of furniture and giving it a new lease of life. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for when we start the transformation, a lot of the time and a lot of the conversations between myself and Chloe centre around, can you imagine, like even if it's a dinner table, can you imagine the conversations that have taken place around this actual piece of furniture? And it's like putting it into landfill, it's criminal. It's absolutely criminal because, like I said before, we can't buy the quality of the furniture. It was all handmade at the time. There was nothing that was mass produced. Everything was an individual piece, even down to a lot of what we find with the older stuff that we get in. The drawers don't all fit in the same slots. It's drawers made specifically for specific slots. So it's the workmanship that went into the furniture, and the fact that we are French Chic Furniture Paint stockists, and that's an eco-friendly paint. It's child friendly, so it's certified to paint children's toys, and it's water-based. So what's not to love about it? It's a complete new way of thinking about how we can make furniture from yesteryear now fit with modern day living.
Yeah, I remember. That's beautiful, by the way. Thank you for that. I remember a few years ago we moved from a 3-bedroom house into a hobbit hole, which can only be described as a hobbit hole, right? So, I remember we made lots of trips to the recycling centre in where? Halesfield. There you go. Forget the word. And I'd pull up. And I'd be getting rid of all bits, that you got around the house. But you'd see like somebody pull up in a Mercedes and get out the car, open the boot, and they bring out this old nightstand that's immaculate, beautiful, and just whoop into the skip. And you're like, whoa! It's heartbreaking. Oh, what are you doing? You must see it. They must see
Crimes
it a lot.
against furniture.
Where do you get your furniture from? Where do you find these relics, these things?
Well, a lot of the time, people will come to us and say, oh, I've got this chest of drawers, or my aunt, she's now moving into sheltered accommodation, she's downsizing. We see a lot of downsizing. And people come to us and say, like, we know that you guys, when we do a piece of furniture, or we sell it in store, we go back to whoever donated it to us in the first place. And once it's sold, 10% of the complete selling price goes to a charity of their choice. So, it's giving back. It's keeping the furniture out of landfill, which is great, but it's also it's close to their hearts also. So we get quite a lot of our furniture that way. We're not allowed to like the recycling centre and grab things out of skips. We're not allowed to do that.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately,
so how come?
Because then again it's not something you need permissions to actually do this, but for 2021 this is something that we're going to be looking heavily into, to form partnerships with the waste recycling centres to say, well, why can't Landfill Angels have maybe a porta cabin or whatever it may be, and people who would like to donate to us, who love the ethos of keeping it out of landfill, being upcycling, recycling it, using eco-friendly products for it to be sold to benefit a charity. That would be really nice for us. That would be perfect.
I mean, you see things for the Salvation Army and like Red Cross and things like that, don't you? At the skips. So,
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Well, what's the first piece of furniture you made where you were like, oh my God, I'm so good at this. What was that first bit?
I know which one it was. It was a chest of drawers, and it had like crackle glaze on the drawers, and it was grey and teal. And that was the one where I was like, wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
And then we got to sell it on, and the profits went to the charity.
Yeah, it was. But in the beginning, it was really hard once they'd been done to go, oh, we need to sell this now. And it was like, oh, but I actually quite like it. You get when you've spent quite a bit of time on a piece to fall in love with it. And that's the difficult bit. The house is full of at that time, the house was getting filled up with bits and pieces that we were transforming. It was like, oh, I actually quite like to keep hold of these, but that's not the model of the business. They've got to go and they've got to be sold on, and then we bring the next one in and off we go. And that was really, that piece was nice. Yeah. I like that piece.
Do you ever find yourself walking around relatives or friends' houses and going, I'd love to just...
all the time. Whenever we go to anyone's house to pick stuff up, we're just in awe.
Yeah.
Just imagine. Oh, Sharon, get your eyes off me. Bookcase. Keep your eyes off them. That's mine, okay? I can just imagine.
It's true, honestly, yeah.
Oh, God. So when did you open the shop then? When were things like big enough for you guys to be like, we can open up a shop. We can do this like officially.
The first thing about it was the room, really. That was why Tarpley was the first shop that we opened, which doubles up as a workshop also. And at that point, right in the very beginning, which was
October 2019.
Yeah, October 2019, right in the very beginning, it was more workshop-based than it was shop-based. It was having somewhere where my father bought us a professional Fuji HVLP sprayer so that the finish, we could transform pieces quicker and the finish would be like factory finish, if you like.
Yeah.
So that was nice for us, and a great gift to get us started. And then from there, we got to, when would it be? July?
It was July. We got the keys for our Whitchurch store.
Yeah.
And then we started the renovation process. We managed to open in September of 2020.
Nice.
And,
the best year to open up a business, right?
What's it's been without its stresses for a new business opening in 2019 in late in the year, then to get to February and obviously COVID came along, and it was like at that time we only had a web presence. We didn't have like an e-commerce site or anything, and it was like we sat around the dining room table and it was like, what is next? What's going to happen to us was the initial thoughts. And then Chloe, being Chloe, just went, well, it's simple, isn't it? We have to go on lockdown and I build us a website. And so Chloe went along and built the website, and it was the French Chic furniture paint and sales online, us selling UK-wide throughout COVID, and the popularity of it. I mean, the French Chic Fan Forum on Facebook has over 400,000 members. And at that point, we had the weather, and we had a lot of people who were at home on lockdown, were sat in their houses going, well, you can paint anything with French Chic, UPVC, metal, wood, plastic. And it was at that point we started to ship out parcels, and at some points we were shipping out 100 parcels a week. Wow. And that for us kept our business, and we will be forever grateful for the support that we got from Pammy at French Chic and all the team at French Chic headquarters by still choosing to supply independent shops, which is all that French Chic is about, and still producing, albeit on a much lower scale than what it was. We were still getting paint through each and every week, and she looked after us and had every stockist back. I mean, there's over 600 stockists now, UK and worldwide. So it gave us that platform to go, yeah, we've managed to stay alive, and now we've got the option to go ahead and grow.
It's good. I'm so grateful that you were given the opportunity, because a lot of others obviously have fallen to the wayside.
I'll be forever thankful for Pammy at French Chic and what she did for us.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Actually, really good. I mean, I right at the beginning of the pandemic, I spoke to Vanessa from Condover Furniture. She's really cool. I love her to pieces, because she's like yourself. She's very proud of what she does, and she makes amazing furniture. And she was just looking at every which way to try and keep open. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, furniture isn't classed as an essential, is it? I guess
no.
So it's kind of like you got to try and justify the way you're. But when it comes to e-commerce now, things that you can deliver, you can shop online. There's the options are now much better than if this would have happened, I don't know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I think it would have been a lot worse for businesses.
Yeah, I agree. Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you say you're going to grow. What's the dream? Where do you want to go with this?
The dreams are big, really. During this recent lockdown, it's sort of given us the headspace, really, to, it's been quite a busy time for us, and we've been able to sit back and have a bit of downtime, if you like, to think what we're doing about 2021 and beyond. And the ideas are flowing, and ultimately what we would like to happen is to get involved in the Kickstarter scheme around Whitchurch, to stay in Whitchurch, to grow a business that would, maybe it could be a CIC, that would employ people from the local area, that we would teach to do what we do, and for the furniture, the same business model, if you like, using the same products as what Landfill Angels does, and still under the Landfill Angels umbrella, but teaching people. I think education is a big part of what we do, about how important it is for us to be all sustainable, for us to be looking at eco-friendly options, and for us to be creating awareness of how important this is. And, you know, Granny's old bureau can now be your nice little treasure that fits into your studio apartment, doesn't look out of place. You're keeping a memory alive and keeping a family heirloom, albeit in a different disguise, but it does suit what you're going to be moving forward in your life and the way that your apartment house is styled. And like I say, I personally, I think the education part of it is massive. And to be able to give youngsters who may be from underprivileged backgrounds, or they've been through, God knows what some of these people have been through, but it would be nice, I feel, for us to go, you can do anything you want to do if you're given an opportunity to do it. And I would like us to be able to give young people the opportunity to skill them, to provide them with business acumen, to teach them about social media, videography, you know, and how the whole business world works, because there are a lot of people out there with ideas who are petrified to put them into practice.
Yes.
But we could, you know, to teach people that there's always another way. There is always another way. I don't know if Chloe wants to speak a bit more about it.
Yeah, I just agree with what you said, really.
I think, Chloe, I think you've got an important input to this, because I feel like being a younger person and growing up around in this environment, we do have a throwaway society now. Like when I was growing up, you'd look after stuff, and then if it broke apart, then you probably try and fix it, and then you may think about buying something else. Whereas nowadays, it's kind of like, there's a slight crack on this thing, I'm going to throw it away and buy a new one. Amazon's great for that, isn't it? So what's it like learning these morals off your mom?
I feel very strongly in the same direction as my mum. I think the likes of Primark and IKEA and things like that, they are what have changed us into the disposable nation that we are today.
Yes.
I think that everyone needs to start adapting a similar mindset to me and my mum. Otherwise, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, because landfill is supposed to be filled up by 2022, I believe.
Yeah.
But with COVID, with the PPE, I think it's going to be much sooner than that, because all the PPE is not recyclable at all.
The anger that I feel
necessary.
Yeah, necessary, absolutely. But the anger I feel when I see a face mask discarded on the floor, I'm like,
oh no,
horrible.
Yeah,
it's the worst. And obviously, there's going to be a massive rush for Christmas over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I just taken my little boy, because obviously in Shrewsbury, town's open again today, and taking my little boy to school, and the traffic was just unreal. And that's because everybody's like, whoa, you know, they're rushing out to get their stuff done. Have you guys seen like a lot of interest in what you guys doing for Christmas? Are you guys expecting to be busy on the build-up?
We only had yesterday so far.
Yeah.
But we think that people didn't realise that yesterday we were allowed to be open.
Yeah.
And they've seen it with the horse racing as well. There was hardly anyone there yesterday, but there's suspected to be loads of people there today.
I think the dates have caused a bit of confusion.
But hopefully we'll be busy. Whitchurch town is looking a lot busier than it was during the lockdown, definitely.
Yeah, I do hope we're not opening our studios. We're based in the Parade Shopping Centre. The Parade Shops, shout out to them guys. How's it going? We're not going to be opening for until the new year, because the way my mind works is I worry an awful lot, and I don't want to add to the Christmas rush, and I don't want to bring up my guests and my the people that I'm coming on my show out into that either. So we're going to wait till sort of January to open up our studio, and I wish everybody in Shropshire, in Shrewsbury, Whitchurch, Telford, wherever you guys are doing things, I wish you all the best. Just stay safe, everybody, because people can get a bit careless when it comes to, I need to get something for the wife, otherwise she's going to leave me. It gets a bit crazy. And actually, going back to, Sharon, what you were saying earlier about teaching kids sort of lessons on how to achieve their dreams from a younger age, by teaching with this idea for a CIC you've got. I think it's an invaluable lesson. I think that's a great resource for anybody, because like, if somebody could have told me, like, when I was like, I don't know, your age, Chloe, when that my mouth, my talking, whatever come out my mouth was what was going to make me raise eyebrows, I'd laughed in people's faces, but at the same time, I would have loved that nurturing when I was younger, So if you can offer that to people with this CIC idea, I think it's a really good idea. I love it.
It's early days for us at the minute. We're just in the exploratory phase of it, but the more I think about it, and the more we've passed the idea around to, people who are in business and people who are local, and it just seems like, because the bigger picture realistically is, if we can get something like that right on the doorstep in Whitchurch, then that model can be replicated anywhere. It doesn't need to be confined even to the UK. It could be a model that's replicated worldwide, if you like, and it all provides a valuable contribution.
I don't know if it's a cynical way of looking at things. Just the name Landfill Angels, and when it comes to rectifying someone's troubled past, say there's some kid that's just come out of juvie, or I don't know, someone's trying to correct their path, and taking furniture and turning it into something beautiful might help them in their path, and they learn a trade because of it. I think there's something in the name there. I think there's actually something really nice about that. I don't know. Some work to be done on that, I imagine. So this year has been odd. It's been odd for a lot of people. What have been your biggest sort of challenges? Obviously, I mean, the paint situation helped you, but when this first all started happening, what was that like for you guys? It must have been horrible. The lockdown, I mean.
It was difficult. I think the initial shock factor of, we'd all heard earlier, of the January, February time of these cases, and you were thinking, that never comes to the doorstep. And bam, before we know it, we're all enveloped in something that's completely alien to all of us. It's trying to process the thoughts of, well, how do we wade through this? Where do we even start? And when it was told that we would close the doors, and it was like, we've only just opened the doors, to be honest, and now we're closing the doors, and that was quite hard. And it was not only that, from a creative point of view, it's like it's draining. To have so much creativity, for it to feel like you've had a knockout punch really, and thought, whatever is next. But I think between the two of us, being a family unit, maybe that, that has helped, the fact that we do work so well together anyway. And it was like, sometimes when you're inside of the goldfish bowl, you can't always see from the outside, and having two people sort of gives different perspective on things. And that's where Chloe had the younger person's perspective of, well, why don't we just go online? that's what we do. If the door's closed, we can still sell paint. And, throughout that, the messages that we were getting from our customers and the customer base that we were creating at that point, they were like, oh, well, I'm just so glad that you're still supplying because, this has got me through lockdown because I'd have just, I wasn't in the right headspace and this has helped me so much. And then people have gone on to realise that, a bit like we did, everybody's got a streak of creativity in them. It just takes something to bring it out of them. And I think, it's the friendship furniture pen is so easy to use and it's all self-leveling. You don't have to be of any great skill to be able to use it. So the product is fantastic. So we were very lucky that we were selling something that the public were demanding. And demanding in droves. Sometimes we were packing up parcels till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning in order so we could get our thing behind it at that time was we need to service these people in the best manner possible and in the fastest, safest manner possible. Living together and working together, we were allowed to be together during that initial lockdown. So that helped, the fact that there were two of us, packing these parcels up, and we learned some invaluable lessons about shipping paint.
Many broken tins.
We got to go into that. We got to go into that. We can't just breeze over that. Sorry. No, go on. Give us a story.
Honestly.
Something that'll make our listeners laugh. What happened?
It was the pictures, right? It was the pictures.
So many pictures.
Because we'd never shipped out paint in our life. And it was like, well, but we're in survival mode now. So it was like, right, okay, how hard can it be? So we get some cans for the paint, paint clip for the cans of paint. We clip them up, we put them in a box, we wrap it in paper, we sellotape the box down and we send it off, and that's that. It was a challenge, first of all, finding a transport company that would ship paint. But obviously, because French Chic is non-toxic and it's all water-based, that we had a lot more openings and a lot more outlets. So we took on the initial company that we started to use, because it can't be sent out by Royal Mail. Anything over 150 mil is a prohibited item. So we found a shipping company, started to pack these parcels, and then the odd one, we'd get an email back and say, oh, Sharon, thanks so much. The paint's arrived in 24 hours, but it's all over the box. And they were like, oh, please, can you send us some pictures? So when we started to get the pictures through and we started, it looks like it's been played football with before it's even arrived to the customer. It looks like, it's not been handled really well. It's not treated with gloves. And that was when we thought, right, we need to look at bigger degrees of boxes and thickness and ply of boxes, together with eco-friendly packing peanuts, and wrapping each can individually in cellophane and packing it into bags that were sealed. And it was an absolute mammoth task. It was a mammoth task. But some of the pictures from customers, obviously, we replaced all the tins of paint. We were on a very steep learning curve. We learned quickly and we got all the tracking and everything correct. We switched couriers because we were finding, we started to think, okay, so some people's courier methods are different to others. We need to start to trial a few different ones before we find the ideal one for what we do. And now we've got the method right now, and we stick to the method, and it's few and far times between now with the shipping out that we do that we end up getting someone going, Sharon, the paint's arrived and thanks so much, but it's now safely contained within a polythene bag and isn't going to cause too much distress. Once the box is open, it's clear to see, and they can just safely dispose of that. But it was funny. It was stressful as well because were quite limited, so it was like, oh, we've got to replace this customer's tip. We've only got one left on the shelf until the delivery arrives. it was fun, but it was stressful at the same time.
I imagine. I can imagine like a movie montage, of like, these things happening, but you're getting better and you're getting better, and eventually, and it's just like, and you just both at the end, just like, yeah, like we did it,
we've cracked it. Yeah,
I can just imagine. Okay, so you hear all these stories all the time of how companies change over the years, like Lamborghini, for example. Lamborghini used to make tractors, I don't know, like, and then now they make supercars. Imagine if you guys are like, you've got a store in every single county of the town and in the country, should I say, and they're like, well, we survived because of paint. Like, that could be your story, If it wasn't for that paint, wouldn't. Yeah. I like
and
that.
that would be absolutely true. That would be absolutely true at that point. That gave us, throughout that lockdown period, the fact that the brand we chose a stockist. We've now got 3 stockist locations for French Chic,
nice.
Which is the maximum that we're allowed to have. So we started off with 1, and within 12 months, we now have 3 locations. The paint is, it's absolutely superb. The service we get from a supplier, no other supplier that we had at that time could touch what we were getting and the support we were getting from French Chic. Absolutely outstanding.
Fantastic.
Outstanding.
Did you have a lot of people getting in touch with you during lockdown? Because, everybody went out there in lockdown and learned something new, right? They learned how to do something new. Whether you learned to sew, whether you learned to paint or write, or maybe, I don't know, refurbish furniture. Did you have a lot of people get in touch with you about that?
Not really.
No?
I wouldn't say that there was a massive amount.
No, it was more like everybody, like the French Chic Fan Forum on Facebook. If you look in there, this is like images of everyone's before and afters. We have a Transformation Tuesday where people can post, maybe a dresser, for instance, that they may have had in their family for years, that they've bought a tin of French Chic and completely transformed it. I think the big thing throughout that very first lockdown was the fact that the weather was fantastic. And French Chic, you can paint UPVC. So a lot of people who have moved into houses and have got old white UPVC, looking a bit, aged, they've now got this massive colour palette that they can use and completely transform the look house. And people were painting front doors, transforming UPVC and composite front doors with a little 150 pot paint that would give them 3 coats one side of the door, and the house looked transformed. And that, then it grew from that point. But the weather at that very first lockdown was a massive plus point, because the alfresco range for French Chic can be used outside on metal, wood, plastics. So everybody was outside in the gardens, sprucing up, even down to plastic pots and stuff, making things look fabulous for very little money.
It was an interesting time, I got to say. It really was. There's something really ironic about this year. I mean, this is the first year in years I've got all of Christmas and all New Year's off work, my actual job, with the job I actually do. And it's the one year I can't really do anything. It's crazy. As you can see behind me, there's boxes and stuff. We're moving house as well. So it's going to be one of those years that, I can spend time with my family. I can do all that, but can't really go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere.
And my wife doesn't really drink, and I'm not going to open up the Jim Beam, Christmas special and drink it by myself. So it's going to be one of those odd Christmases. I think I like being around the family. Christmas is the time for that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I love Christmas.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love what you guys do. I think what you guys are doing is there's a lot more of a deeper meaning to what you guys are doing, because yes, you're stopping landfills to a degree, from filling up extra. You're raising that 10% for charity. You're offering nice things for people to buy, but there's also a lesson there, isn't there? There's a lesson there that I really think deep down is one of the most important things, and that is, just because something's old and withered doesn't mean that's got no extra use.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist, baby. I mean, that's how I look at life.
Completely.
Yeah, I think there's something really nice about it. So, I really enjoyed chatting to you guys. Would you like to tell my listeners sort of where they can find you on Facebook, on your website, wherever it is? Tell people where you are.
For Facebook, and Instagram and Twitter. All you need to search is Landfill Angels. We are most active on Instagram and Facebook, and the website is landfillangels.com.
Nice.
And you can buy the friendship furniture paint. We sell lots of nice homewares, Christmas decorations at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the furniture too.
Nice. And what advice would you give to someone that wanted to do something similar to you? I mean, we got listeners all around the world, so I mean, they might not be in direct competition with you if they're going to listen to it. But if somebody wanted to do something you were going to do, or even just to see if they were good at doing what you do, whether it's refurbishing something they've got in the garage, what advice would you give them?
Get in contact with us.
Yeah,
because we'd love to, any advice. The advice comes for free, and it'll come from the experiences that we've had. We love to help anyone, because it is important. And that's the education piece as well. The fact that anyone can have a go at it. Why don't you try? You've got to. If you don't take it, what could possibly go wrong? If you paint something and you're not too happy with the finish of it, start all over again. Sand it back and start again. It's not the end of the world. You've never lost something. It's only underneath layers of paint that's a chalk and mineral paint at the end of the day. And if you change your colour scheme, change the piece of furniture. I think people just need to take a risk.
I'd be scared, man. Imagine some guy going, hello, Mr. Whiteley. This thing is 300 years old. I would like you to make it look a lot nicer for me, please. I want it to shine, sparkle, baby. And I was just kind of I just look at it and be like, 300-year old, you say? Yeah. Probably not going to touch that, I'm afraid. Because, I don't know, I'll probably break it.
There's nothing to be scared of.
There's nothing to be scared of. No, I think running the workshops, that was a big plan for us that actually came to an abrupt halt early on with lockdown. The fact that our initial business plan included running workshops where you could come to us and bring a small, I'm not saying come in with a wardrobe, but come in with a small piece of furniture and we will teach you what you need to do. A bit like teach a man to fish, you feed him for life sort of concept. Rather than you bring me something and myself or Chloe will, transform it for you, then we'd much sooner educate you on how you can do this for yourself, because the mental health perspective of being able to look at something that doesn't look fantastic for you to, after, a couple of coats of paint and a bit, the preparation, everything is in the preparation. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail is my motto with it. Get the prep right, get it painted, and when you've created something and you can actually stand back, it's that thought of self-worth and achievement from just investing a bit of time in yourself, for want of a better word. And I think we're all guilty of not having or not creating enough time for ourselves. And that little pocket of time I used to get when I was in a stressful environment of finance was like, when I used to start painting, it was like, all that there was me, a paint pot, a brush, and this piece of furniture and an idea. And to see it actually, over the coats of paint come together, and at the end of it, and people have gone, what, it looked like this. I used to take pictures before and after, then I could see how far it had come, and I think this is it. This is where I belong.
I think the clouds have sort of aligned during this show, because we've kind of all followed the sort of same path. I was going to say before we did this, have you ever thought of doing a makeover show? Also on YouTube. So like, this is what we've got before. This is what we had before. This is what we have after. Sort of like an art attack. What are you going to need, kids?
I think it's got to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be in the plan there somewhere that everything this day and age is digital. We've just seen the demise of, three big household names who have been alive for years in the Arcadia Group, Debenhams and Bon Marché, all this week through mismanagement, I'll say, for some of it. And for the biggest part of it is not listening to the consumers and listening to their audience, but the biggest part will be not being in that digital arena.
I think it's a lot of it. I mean, when you look at Shrewsbury, there's a lot of people that listen to my show, a lot of people I speak to. would more happily support an independent business than actually go to the likes of Waitrose, Tesco's, Debenhams, all these sort of big chains. I mean, unless it's like something specific you want, I know, a pair of trainers that you can only find in JD Sports or something like that, you're going to go there. But when it came to like Debenhams, things like that, they were selling things that you could buy in Primark, in IKEA for like a quarter of the price. And you kind of look at those models and you think, well, the signs were there. You probably could have lowered your prices a little bit, listened to the consumers, like you said. It is a shame. It's a huge shame. But yeah, I think I'd rather spend, if I was going to spend a bit more, it'd be to help an independent business. That's for sure. That's
what we like about particularly the fact that's what brought us to Whitchurch. The fact that the independent community here, the businesses that are here, are primarily independent businesses. Yeah. The market that's on here once a month, fantastic down the high street. The high street's closed off. All independent sellers, all independent traders, a lot of the high street and a lot of the local surrounding streets are all independents. And what's not to love? The support we had when we were doing up this shop in Whitchurch, when we first took it on, it was like people used to knock on the door and go, oh, what's it going to be? And, oh, God, I'd love something like that coming to Whitchurch. And this is just like great. And, oh, I wish you so much luck. The messages that we got from people and the amount of people that just even put their head through the door now and say, your shop is beautiful and I wish you so much luck in these terrible times for businesses, and being in Whitchurch, it's great to have a community around here that specifically live in a town that's full of independence and they have that sense of keeping the community alive, and that's the bit we specifically love about being here.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice to be proud of where you are. I mean, I was thinking about this morning. I've shared artwork for my interview with Dale Hintz, who's a very good barber here. He's in the top 6 of UK's best barbers recently. So he's a great guy. And what we did for this artwork, I'm trying to find it now. I'm being rude. What I love about the artwork I do is sometimes I'll pop on for the love of Shrewsbury, and I'll be like, okay, guys, I need some artwork for so many episodes. Send me your pictures, show me what you can do. And the amount of beautiful, well thought out photos that I get of people that are just proud of the town that they live in, it's just heartwarming and it's really nice to see. So to anybody that listens that did submit your pictures, if I haven't chosen yours, it's not because there was just so much to choose from. It's so much beauty in this county and this town, so thank you for everybody that submitted them. And if you see your picture you on the artwork for the biscuit, you will get a full credit, don't worry. You guys are awesome. I love the dynamic, the mom-daughter dynamic. I think that's great. You can make it work. I bet you get lots of people that are like, oh, I couldn't do that with my kid,
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Well, you're both learning from each other, and that's beautiful.
Definitely.
That's really nice. Would you like to give any thanks or sort of shout outs before we get at this episode?
Yeah, definitely, especially to the support we've had from the local community here in Whitchurch and Tarpley. That's been, it's been paramount to our business. The fact that our doors and our the door is always open, the phones are always on, we're always answering emails and stuff. Anybody needs any advice or anything like that, all they need to do is get in touch with us with several contact methods. We'd like to say a big thanks to Bev, the Mayor of Whitchurch, for the contacts she's created and putting us in touch with Dean, and then getting to speak to you guys. It's that sort of feel that's so nice, really, and so warming as a business owner, bringing a new business to a small town. For us, and the community support, massive.
Yeah.
Massive thanks to Friendsheet, because we wouldn't be here without them. So big ups, Pammy Garoon, and the team at Friendsheet HQ. Anybody else you can think of?
I think that covers pretty much everyone.
Oh, my mum and dad, but that's standard.
Course, yeah.
My mum and dad.
I want to thank my mum, my dad. Yeah, nice. Yeah. I think networking. amongst friends, amongst the the kind of people you just mentioned now is actually an invaluable resource these day and age, isn't it? Because there's so much misinformation going on. You don't know, like you said, people are confused about the dates for yesterday. Networking is super important these days, and it's been nice.
Can't wait to get back to networking again.
I know.
Yeah, properly.
Whenever that may be.
In person, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've got a nice, relaxed chat. I love this. It's what I do. I would love to give our listeners a chance to check out our website as well, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that is made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website, take a look at ours. It's beautiful. It's very down. You can play all our audio. We look good on there. So if you need a website, make sure you check out Web Orchard. They will look after you. I want to give a shout out to the parade shops. Of course, I'm not going to be there this month. I am staying well out of the way, letting you guys do your thing. But we're usually in the studio there. But I want to give a shout out to everybody that wish you the best of luck this month. And give you guys some love. The parade shops behind St. Mary's there. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. It's been awesome.
No problem. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you. And Merry Christmas. Are we allowed to say that now? We're allowed to say that. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. And we'll catch you next week.